Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Today I will share how to read 3D reconstruction of cervical spine. This is anterior view of 3D cervical spine. Transverse process, outline to occipital joint, C1 to C7 vertebral body, lateral mass of C1, occipital condyle, first rib. This is posterior view of cervical spine. Bifid spinous process of C2, transverse process atlas C1, occipital condyle, Spinous process of C5, posterior tubercle, posterior arch, effects of odontoid process. This is lateral view of cervical spine. Vertebral body of C6, facet joint, vertebral body of C3, posterior tubercle, spinous process of C2, spinous process of C7, first and second rib. This is anterior view of cervical spine without C1, transverse process of C2, odontoid process, superior articular facet, C3 to C4 vertebral body, transverse process. This is anterior body of atlas C1 vertebra, lateral mass of C1, odontoid process, transverse process, outline to occipital joint, occipital condyle, anterior tubercle. This is posterior view of atlas C1 vertebra. Effects of odontoid process, outline to occipital joint, transverse process, posterior tubercle, posterior arch, occipital condyle. This is lateral view of atlas C1 vertebra. Anterior tubercle, outline to occipital joint, posterior arch, posterior tubercle, outline to axial joint, occipital condyle. This is superior view of atlas C1 vertebra. Vertebral foramen, posterior tubercle, transverse foramen, effects of odontoid process, anterior tubercle, posterior arch, transverse process, canal of vertebral artery, outline to occipital joint, occipital condyle. This is anterior view of C2 vertebra or axis without C1. superior articular facet, odontoid process, inferior articular process, transverse process, vertebral body. This is posterior view of C2 vertebra or axis. Effects of odontoid process, bifid spinous process, lamina. This is lateral view of C2 vertebra or axis. Vertebral foramen. Effects of odontoid process, spinous process, inferior articular process, vertebral body, transverse process, superior articular facet. This is superior view of C2 vertebra or axis. Lamina, spinous process, vertebral foramen, odontoid process, superior articular facet. This is anterior view of vertebra without C1 and C2. Vertebral body, uncinate process, transverse process. This is posterior view of vertebra without C1 and C2. Superior articular facet, uncinate process, superior articular process, spinous process. This is lateral view of vertebra without C1 and C2. Vertebral body, superior articular process, superior articular facet, spinous process, inferior articular process, transverse process. This is superior view of vertebra without C1 and C2. Superior articular facet, lamina, spinous process, vertebral foramen, transverse process, transverse foramen, vertebral body, pedicle. If you want, you can hit the subscribe button to get new video updates. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.